Excuse me, I have to tell you this. You are the most beautiful woman in the world.
Most beautiful woman in the world?
Look at this woman.
You know, this guy doesn't even have a passport. I have a passport, and I know when I see the most beautiful woman in the world. And you ain't it. Excuse me.
Asshole.
What a dick.
This ugly ass.
I'm getting a passport soon.
I love your app.
Download the Passport Bros app.
Well, y'all know what it is. Download the app.
Y'all need to join that Passport Bros app.
Download now in the App Store and Google Play.
Your ultimate travel companion. Download the app for free and embark on a journey where your adventures not only become unforgettable memories, but also opportunities to earn. With Passport Bros, your travel content is more than just photos and videos. It's your ticket to a fully monetizable network of like-minded adventurers. Imagine making money from your travel stories. Post videos, share your experiences, and let the world be a part of your journey. But that's not all. Connect with travelers from around the globe, join co-ed groups, and make lasting friendships, perhaps even with foreign women who share your passion for exploration. And here's the best part. Store your earnings securely in your Passport Bros wallet. No hassle, no worries. Just seamless transactions wherever your travels take you. Looking for the best local experiences? Passport Bros has got you covered. Get personalized recommendations for tour guides, rentals, and the hottest clubs in town. Did we mention the app is absolutely free to download? That's right. Your passport to a world of adventure is just a click away. And here's the cherry on top. With Passport Bros, you can make money while exploring new places. Turn your passion for travel into a source of income, right from your mobile device. So what are you waiting for? Download Passport Bros now, share your journey, connect with fellow explorers, and let the adventure begin.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, family, we are live. Welcome to another show. It is your man BMT, and we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about one of the most debated topics in the Passport Bro community. The YouTubers mess up the travel game and concerns with spots like Sosua. You can say Colombia to a certain degree as well. We're going to talk about it. I got my man Cardell. He's going to pull up shortly, and we're going to discuss it. We've been talking about it for a while now, so this is a big topic. We got a poll in the chat. You guys can also vote on the poll. Did the YouTubers ruin Sosua? We specifically focusing on Sosua right now. This is like one of the spots that a lot of guys start off traveling to. And it's not as popular as it was back in the day. I think during COVID, a little bit maybe before COVID, sometimes after COVID, Sosua was really big. You don't hear about it as much as you used to. So we're going to bring my man Cardell. And I also got my man MAB. He's going to be pulling up. He's actually out there as well. Shout out to my man Marcus A. Brown. So we're going to chop it up, man. We're going to talk about it. I know we got a lot of things. A lot of people want to make comments about it because things have changed. Let's be honest. What up, Hannibal? Things have changed in this travel space in the last few years. Let's be honest. I will say that. Not so much places like Brazil or Thailand, places that are kind of far, but places that are kind of, easy to get to, not that long of a flight. DR, and for most people coming from the East Coast is maybe 2 or 3 hours. Colombia is 5 hours. So, when you got Americans going to a place a little bit more often, we got popular. You can say through YouTube. You can honestly say through YouTube. You're going to have more personalities coming out there. So we're going to talk about it, man. We definitely going to talk about it. Let's see who's all in the room before I bring in my brother Cardell. We're going to go back, too. We're going to go back to the early beginnings of this whole Passport Bro thing. Before he's even called Passport Bro, we're going to talk about some of the things, too, in this stream. What up, Gillett Knight? Somebody says, has anyone heard from Taylor May? I have not heard from my brother. Now I think about it, I have not heard, but I know Taylor May be taking his breaks from YouTube. Shout out to my man Mufasa, said that Zoom Tyler stream from last night with BMT was wild. Hey man, you know I gotta speak my opinion, but shout out to my man from Zoom to Tyler. It was a great debate. Like I always say though, when you debate me, you're gonna be debating a debater. So you got to come with the facts when you come with me. And we might do like a follow-up show of that on that brother's channel. Nathan, I forgot the name, YouTube channel, but he was doing a lot of little soft shoeing. So we might have a debate on his channel later on during this week. So we'll talk about that later on. Astro Knight says, Sosua, no. Colombia, hell yeah. Okay, so you're saying Sosua is not ruined, but Colombia is, all right? My man talking about official EJ Way says, BNT Live, you was the voice of reason last night. Respect. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. You know, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I'm gonna say what I feel is right. You know, I'm always gonna say what I feel is right. And shout out to Gail. Gail is admin. Shout out to you, Gail. I was coming through. He said, first went to Sosua in 08, stopped going since, damn, you've been going since 08. Yeah, you definitely seen it. You definitely seen it being ruined if you've been going since 08. Way before YouTube, fam. YouTube does change the dimensions of things. I will say that. I'll say that. You know, I will say that. All right. Bronze John says, I still have a blast when I go. Yeah, guys. You know, Sosua hasn't been on the map. Everything is about Colombia right now, to be honest with you. Cartagena, Medellin, that's in the news, whether it be a negative or a positive. In most cases, we're hearing about, people being drugged or robbed out there, but people still love Colombia. And I know I'm going to get some Colombian lovers in the chat soon, and they're going to be pulling up soon. My Colombian defense squad will be pulling up shortly, I'm sure. All right. Before we get to the show, before I bring Cardell on, I want to give a shout out to, let's see if I can pull it up. I want to give a shout out to the Passport Bros Facebook group, the original Passport Bros Facebook group. All right, you see my man Cardell right there. A lot of content if you guys haven't already joined. I know most of you probably already in the private Facebook group, but go ahead and join the Facebook group. I don't promote it as much. Hold on, let me remove this from the screen. All right, hold on, let me pull this up one more time. Because most of us are on the Passport Bros app, but there's still a lot of good information that you can pull from the original Passport Bros Facebook group, guys. This is the group that went viral early on in this space. This is the group that's been featured on Fox News. I know it's other bootleg groups or mimic groups with the name that might have a dot behind it. But as you see with the header right there, this is the original group. This group, you can look at the date of this group when it was started. Everybody kind of copycat it. We might keep them up. We might get them taken down. Not sure. It depends on if the admins are producing the right or publishing the right content on Facebook. But just keep in mind, this is Facebook. Sometimes guys message me and say, hey, man, they repost the stuff in other groups that I posted. And I'm saying, well, brother, it is Facebook. There is a private app that you guys can join that we promise that, screenshots won't be taken and put out there like that. So please keep that in mind when you're posting in Facebook. It's Facebook, it is Fed Book, all right? And the reason we came up, and I'm going to bring Cardell in a second, the reason we came up really with the Passport Bros because our Facebook group originally was taken down when it was called Black Man Travels, all right? So we rolling in here, man. We got 68 in the room. Without further ado, I'm going to bring my brother on, my man Cardell in the building. What's going on, Cardell? I'm see if I can get some round of applause for you, brother. Hold on. Let me see if I can get some sound effects going on in here, man. Let me see if they work today. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if we can get the sound effects going on for my brother. It's been a minute, brother. How's everything been going with you?
Hey, man, you know what it is, man. It's your man's for there. What up? What's good, man? You know what time it is, man. The second of his ninja in the group, man.
There we go. Those are sound effects.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother? How's everything with you, man?
Oh, everything is good, man. It's lovely. It's another day.
Okay, you out there in the DR?
Nah, I'm actually back in the DMV area right now, and I'll be trying to wait till it warm up to come down this joker, man. But it's still cold, so I'm out.
Damn, looks like it's May now, right? This should
Yeah,
be,
bro, it's going into
yeah.
June, bro. It's like 60-something degrees. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. But before we get to the Sue, the DR, and everything, let's go back into the history of this thing in concerns of the Passport Bros and the Facebook group. Let's talk about how we was rocking early on in the beginnings of this space.
Oh,
Now, we're not saying before you start, we're not saying that we created the travel space for guys. We're not saying that.
Yeah,
Guys were like, man, I've been traveling since 2005. I'm like, no, we're not saying that, brother. We're saying that we would pretty much, we was kind of getting it out there early on in the space.
Yeah, indeed, man. Definitely, man. BMT, man, is a movement. And like I say, brothers been traveling. I mean, the originators are the military, you know what I mean? Those guys was moving around the world, exploring different cultures, way back. So shout out to them because they the originators, man, and appreciate your service as well. But they started the real thing. But yeah, we kind of got online and brought people together through a movement. Like I said, through BMT, it started out and it grew. It was originally just black men travels. We out there chopping it up and talking out, sharing our insight and valuable information about travel and kept growing. It grew from there, and we never disrespect the founders. You know what I mean? Black Man Options. All those guys was kicking it strong and kicking it heavy. So we never say, "Hey man, we created this." We just took it on and we took it viral. I will say that, right? Passport Pros became a household name. And we continue to grow, man. We got the app, man. Y'all lock in on the app because like right before I was coming on, like you said, man, Facebook is it's cool. It's a tool we can get on here and build and share with, but bro, that information goes everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, and I tell people, be cautious what you put on there, man, because that stuff goes everywhere. It goes everywhere.
Facts.
Yeah,
that's facts, man. We was rocking hard with the original Black Man Travels group. Then one day we woke up and it was gone.
Dog, straight dog. I remember that joint like it was yesterday, dog. That joint felt like somebody kidnapped my kid. You hit me up like, bro, can you find the group? I'm like, no.
Yeah, man. Because we were putting so much work in. Like we were putting so much work. Like this is like the early on in the space. It wasn't really, out there like that. Like men would find out about this little travel space. They was like, oh snap, and it was so much activity. So the group started shaping into, we know the girls were attracting the guys and everything like that, but it was also attracting people that was, figuring out how to make money, entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And then once guys start posting screenshots of like, I don't even know where that member's at, by the way, but he started posting screenshots of Brotherhood accounts of successful trades.
Yeah.
They use that. Facebook used that screenshot of somebody showing a successful trade on a Brotherhood account and said it was newbie. And they took the group down without any suspension, without
nothing. That joint was straight. That was really the fuel to be like, we gotta have our own platform, man, because it's rough. And this is for anybody out there building themselves up in the YouTube game, man. Aaron has put in, countless tens of thousands of hours building this thing, man. And you gotta realize you gotta have something that you own because you just don't own it. You can't control it. I think Facebook started out as a cool thing for people to network and build, but once it grew so big, it took us in its own thing. I don't even know if Zuckerberg wanted to be like that, but it's so big and powerful that he has to do what people tell him to do. Essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and the crazy part is, we had maybe I think the group was in like some type of flag state at some point, but we made sure we cleaned it up and everything, but they still took it down. And then I created Black Men Travels 2.0.
Yeah.
And then you was like, man, you need to create another group still. I said, what about Black Men Travels 3.0? You said, man, that shit corny as hell. I said, okay. I said,
we just kept going, man.
Passport Bros. He was like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's where it all came from.
That's it, man. I see you over there enjoying that luxury over there. Looking good.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, moving and shaking, man. We got 100 room already. So, guys, make sure you hit that like button. I'm going to tap into the poll real quick. to see what, because you actually brought this up to me in the casual conversation. You was like, man, these YouTubers have kind of changed the dynamics a
Yeah,
little bit out
man.
here. So the
Yeah.
poll right now, as it stands, we got 57 votes. Did YouTubers destroy Sosua? We got 67% says yes, 34% says no. What's your opinion on that, Dale?
Oh man, it's challenging because YouTube and exposure is good and bad, right? But I like to use the analogy of like you have a bunch of these food influencers, right? Like if you got a nice little cheesesteak spot in your hood, you be like, yo, this joint be busting. And somebody like Chime Time come through, or the other major dude from the D, I can't remember his name right now. But once they hit your spot, man, it ain't never gonna be the same because the exposure that is going to get, right? They're gonna get flooded with all these new people, and innately just things go down from that. I remember in my first trip to like Cartagena, I was like, oh, this joint is dope, man. I had a good time. And then when I went back, it was within like 6 months. I was like, oh, it changed already. And I remember I get on there, I was like, hey man, go to Colombia, go to Cartagena, have a good time, because it's gonna be toast in a couple years. that's
Right.
just how things go, man. They get worse. So, for me, it's tough to say if they destroyed it. Did they make an impact? Because it brings some positive too, right? Guys are going there and exploring and traveling, right? And I own multiple businesses there, and that brings clients, right? So YouTube helped promotes my business, right? But I think guys go down and put too much emphasis on the wrong thing, and what happens is the quality, it's interesting because certain people don't want to be associated with it, right? So quality tends not to go around there because of YouTubers. So then guys be like, oh man, it's not the same environment, it's not the same quality of people I used to connect with. And YouTuber absolutely is the reason for that. They're not coming around. The quality stays away because they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna be plastered all over the internet because there's a negative connotation behind it. Sosua. And on a bigger level, the government, people don't think about that. You gotta remember these other countries, they're not the US. I mean, the US, it seems like people are losing freedom of speech. But these
Right.
other
That's true.
companies ain't the US, man. And dudes have to be careful because they will handle you, because that hurts the country, right? The country gets a negative connotation in that area. And you're talking about billions of dollars there. And they don't play around with their money.
That's
So
fact.
I lean more towards yes. It did destroy it because of the work. Like you got people like Greg. Greg just give game about Dominican Republic. You just give game about Dominican Republic and other
That's what I was going to
countries,
say next. Yeah.
right? It's the creep cam dudes and all
Oh.
they the ones that really did put a hurting on the area and give it that bad connotation, man. You got to, some things you just got to keep on the low, keep it quiet. If you know, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I got into a whole debacle last year about that. And the crazy part is I wasn't even talking about that particular YouTuber or those particular YouTubers. I was actually talking about a certain YouTuber. I'm not gonna say their name. I don't need no more beefs, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, man, that's on some, on some hood-ish, especially being a black person, most of us come from these inner cities. We kind of know the game about running up on people with cameras, hidden cameras and shit. Like that's some corny shit. You know what I'm saying? And you basically, you getting the views or whatnot. You might got some subs, but low key, you ruining people's lives, you ruining people's businesses. Like they really did mess up some shit, in my opinion. Right? Because in the DR, it's like that's like a romance culture out there, and people don't want their dirty business out there like that. I was in San Domingo one day, and I was listening to some Dominicans. They were talking really bad about Sosua, though, but mostly about the content that's coming out of Sosua, basically.
Right.
We all know it's a dope little town. I mean, I had some great experiences there, just chopping up, with firefighters, police officers, judges in some cases, but they don't want to be on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's the thing, man. I meet some really successful people all the time, man. And they're just, traveling, enjoying life, man. But you got to realize you're pulling out those cameras, and some of these people have political backgrounds. They have these
Hmm.
political analysts, and they have these careers, and these lives, and you like, oh well, we caught them down here in this spot. Now they could be just down there enjoying the beach. I mean, Sosua Beach is amazing, man. They don't put out
Best
like
beach
the
in the world.
quality
Yeah,
things. Like, I do a ton of stuff, and I'm like, man, I don't never see y'all post this. Like, why nobody show how dope like Sosua Ocean Village is? Like, that's Santa Fe.
that's
Like
beautiful.
that
Yeah.
joint is dope, man. It's the biggest saltwater pool I think in the Caribbean. It's insane. But they
Hmm.
don't post that. I ride horses and shit on the beach now. It's a bunch of stuff to do, and I'm like, they don't never post this. I go to Ocean Club. And I'm like, why y'all ain't over here? Like they don't show all these things that there's to do. Monkey Jungle, and it's a ton of things to do to get out there and enjoy your life, man. Spread your wings a little bit. But they just kind
Hmm.
of post what they post. And
I know.
I get it. They out there doing their thing and trying to get clicks and stuff, but you could just add more quality to the content. So it hurts the area.
Right, right. And I remember there used to always be, like I would say not necessarily political drama, but it was always changes. Has there been like major changes as of late? Like I know they've been talking about clearing out the beach for a long time and putting up resorts. Is there like new changes coming down the line, or is still kind of like always in development still?
I see a lot of pressure applied. So last summer you had a lot of government people from Santo
Excuse me.
Domingo
Uh,
that was down there and really enforcing certain things, really kind of cleaning up the image, right? Because when it comes down to it, you guys always have to um, remember that it's a beach. Oh my man, what up though? um, you got to always remember that that beachfront property and that island is very valuable, right? Most people that know I'm a real estate guy. And you're talking about billions of dollars. That's what I say. Like I don't see a lot of guys over there at Ocean Club, and I go there and hang out and stay there sometime. But those rooms are like 400, 500 a night, right? It's a product by the Marriott. It's high end, but you guys don't. You're gonna go right by that joint. You guys don't see it. So it's a lot of money, and the government is looking to clean up the area because while it's cool to have a couple guys come down and buy some cheeseburgers and stuff like that, they would probably like to push more towards luxury tourism. That's the theme I've been seeing a lot with the president. And there was just a major announcement from A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez. He's investing $1 billion on the North Coast. Um,
who the baseball player?
yeah, yeah,
Damn,
yeah. So it's big
that's like
money.
that's the Puerto Plata area though, right? I
The,
mean the Punta Cana area, right?
no, this
You
is
know.
this is on the North Coast. He's investing in Playa Grande. It's probably about an hour and a half from Sosua. So
Mm.
they're building up the North Coast. All those people are going to be coming into Puerto Plata Airport,
Mm.
right? So they're investing. You got Punta Burger, that's Vin Diesel project. Over there, you got probably more than $1 billion going to be built in a resort area right there. So they are looking to clean up. And the beach, I know they've been talking about it forever. It's cranes going. They're breaking and building. It's no more talk. They're working.
But are
Uh,
there still businesses on the beach still? Though? Are they
right
still?
now, there's still businesses on the beach. Um, they have been buying them out. And once you take the buyout, they tear it down because they're going to renovate that beach.
Damn. So you think these renovations are going to cause like a new demographic to show up and the old demographic to maybe start to go elsewhere?
Yeah, eventually they'll want to definitely clean it up. What may stifle their progress is, for me, I think they still need a major attraction, to be
Mm.
able to get a family to say, "Hey, I'm going to jump on this plane, and pay these flight." The flights into Puerto Plata is going to be a big hurdle because they're very, very expensive. And it's one thing when it's one dude going to have a good time. It's another thing when it's a husband, wife, and 3 kids, and the dad got to pay for 5 flights, and they're $800 a piece. So that's going to be a major hurdle for them to get it if they want a family environment. And I think they
Hmm.
also need a major attraction. They're gonna have to invest some serious money, 50 million, 60 million, build a state-of-the-art water park. It has to be something to make a mom tap the husband and say, "Yo, I want to go here. Let's take the kids." And renovating the beach isn't going to do that.
Okay, we catch the super chats in a minute. I'm gonna give a shout out to the first super chat of today. Shout out my man Jay Now with the $5 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. He says,
Detroit in the
salute to-
building. What up, though?
Oh, you know my man's right there. I think
Yeah,
I know my
yeah.
man's too. So salute to. I think I know that Jay. I think we did a party in Columbia actually. But salute to BMT and my fellow West Side Detroit bro. There, that's my man Jay, right? That be in Columbia.
Probably. His name on here. I've seen people seeing on Facebook.
Okay. All right. Shout out to my man Jay, though. All right, I got another super chat here. Shout out to my man Jay Rass in the building, man. Shout out to you, one of the top DJs out there in Medellin, Colombia, with the 20 mil Colombian pesos, man. I really appreciate that, brother. He says, Cardell, can you tell us a few cultural things about the DR? I never really hear people give that type of info. All I know is they're into bachata and dembo.
Okay, yeah, definitely, man. Like it's a dope culture, right? So I fell in love with it because they just enjoy each other and enjoy people, right? They're very open. If you actually get outside of just walking on Pedro Casante, the people in general are very open and friendly and giving. So what I mean by that, like I was at a beach a few weeks ago before I left, and they was out there and they was eating and cooking. They brought food from home and beer and stuff, and they like the cars with the crazy speakers on the roof, and they had the music blasting with the cars on the roof, and they didn't know me. I'm just a gringo that probably makes more money than them. And they was just like, "Yo, come on over, check it out. Have a beer, chill with me, my." I mean, that's how they are culturally. They take the little they have and they find happiness. They enjoy their lives, man. So that's something you definitely want to, kind of come and check out and experience. Like go to the river on a Sunday. They hang out at the river and just, they take what they got and they're very sharing and caring in terms of culture. And of course, you say, the bachata and the dembo and the dancing. The dembo culture, I'm not a big fan of. I mean, they are out and they have fun and they dance. I love that because we used to really dance, but it still also leans towards a real explicit type culture. And as far as I'm concerned, I feel like hip hop was turned into like rap culture. It took us as African Americans down the wrong path. So I see Dembo unfortunately becoming like a detriment to the culture because it's the same type of music, the same type of negativity and disrespect, and yeah. So and
I was
I listen to
seeing
it.
it out there, yeah.
Yeah, I like people dancing and having a good time to it, but it's still
So they say the same word over and over again, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That joint, it's a little destructive, I think. I can see 20, 30 years down the line, they'll feel like we feel like about hip hop took a turn into rap, and then it's like, okay, yeah, that joint. Now we got the YNs running around.
Yeah, man. It's so crazy, like that Dominican culture. I love it, man, but it's just strange, right? Like there's some of the separatism to a certain degree. Now, most of us don't have to deal with it, and we know that Dominicans eye complexion. We get all that, but it's just strange for us to see as Black Americans, where our families are pretty much mixed. We all got like the lightest light skinned dude in the family, and the darkest dark skinned dude, and we all rock them. But out there, you can see a little bit of differences. That's like, just.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
Strange,
it's
man.
very difficult to explain.
Yeah, they have some colorism and some classism, which that's classism is worldwide.
Right.
But yeah, I do see it. Once I deal with a different echelon of people through business, you can see it, and then like the people from Santiago, they're like the elitists. They're like they think it's the best city in the country. But yeah, they'll look down on other parts. A lot of people that don't understand, like the Sosua Puerto Plata area, it is essentially like deep South Alabama, if you had to do a correlation. So a lot of people don't know that. They'll go to like the Sosua and be like, oh, it's this. But you got to understand that is what they would consider like the country. They call it the countryside, the campo, right? So you have people who may not have the same education as somebody from Santiago or Santo Domingo, even if you guys like are learning Spanish and you're like, man, I can't understand them. It's kind of like speaking to someone from like deep South Alabama sometime. So you be
Right,
like, but Duolingo said, "Como tú estás," right? And they like, "Como tú
right,
estás?"
right.
You like, what?
What, bro?
um,
I don't. I'm sorry. It might be offensive when I say this, but because Dominicans will say it too. But it's like they speak Spanish, but that's a whole different type of Spanish that they're speaking. Especially if you're coming from Colombia, thinking your Spanish is good, and you come to
yeah,
DR, and you just sitting here like, what the hell did you just say, bro? Like,
yeah.
what was that?
Yeah. Now, what did you experience in Santo Domingo though? Because it's different. Like, you'll have some people that may a little bit more educated. They may speak a little more differently where you can
A lot of
understand them
people
better.
are starting to speak English in San Domingo too. Because you starting to get
Ah,
that broken English /
yeah.
Spanish. So is if you know some Spanish, it's kind of easy to communicate because a lot of people in San Domingo actually do speak decent English. They just be kind of ashamed to,
Uh,
speak it with you because it's not the best. But if you speak some broken Spanish, they speak some broken English, you can kind of pair up a good, decent conversation. I want to welcome my man MAB to the building. What's going on, Marcus?
yeah.
Yo, what's good, y'all? Salute to BMT, salute Dale in the chat.
Yeah.
Y'all know I'm out here right now in the zoo, and I just muted my mic because of that background noise.
Yeah. Got the
Okay.
motos running around.
What's the temperature
Man,
like out there, man?
motorcycles,
Is it still because one of your videos that blew up was in Sosua. Do you see some differences from that original video you made to now?
I'm sorry, I don't know if this is my internet or yours. I know you asked something about like since I made the video versus now.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's what I asked.
You see
It's
any
still the
changes?
same. It's the same to me, but like the past few times I've been out here, it's been during holidays, so I don't know if that's affecting. I don't know if it's like quote unquote dead or I just end up here. Like last time I was here was during the Holy Week, like what we would call Easter. Wasn't a lot going on. I'm out here now for Mother's Day. Not a whole lot going on. But last night was busy. So I mean, it still get busy out here, and it is Memorial Day weekend.
Well, yeah. You
But
picked
I'm
you
out
picked
here
two bad
to
weekends. Two bad
yeah,
weeks.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Holy Week is like the slowest week, and this weekend, like I say, it's Mother's Day, so a lot of them, go and hang out and spend time with family, and then you got it double hit because there's a HBCU event in Puerto Plata, and they got like 500 people, so they buy up all the flights.
Y'all also keep in mind with me, like my situation is different because I'm really here to support the local businesses. I got the shameless plug. I was at the pizza spot last night. I got some
Yeah,
leftovers. DR slice. So and I checked out Wing and Waffle last time. That's when me and Dale linked up.
yeah,
I'm a slide on Flip at some point.
yeah.
And tomorrow we got the Ruck March with the veterans out here with Sergeant Sosua.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I
man.
can't say I'm out here to party like that, but I still pop out every now and then.
Yeah, now that's what you just said, man, is the dope thing that most people forget or don't realize. Like, the partying and stuff is gonna be there. But if you really look back at like what you just named, being
All
able
right,
to
okay.
rock, build, support brothers, different businesses, man. You got the vets out there doing it big with Sergeant Sosua and John. Those are the things that's really unique that people aren't taking advantage of, man. The brotherhood, I always say that's the main thing I love about Sosua is the brotherhood. I got tons of people I've met there. People are acquiring assets and real estate, man, and building brands. So it's dope, man. You'll come there and connect with a dude from Kentucky and y'all just be vibing, right? And y'all stay in touch and y'all start building. That's the thing that I love about Sosua. That is, I just don't find it in other places, man. That's one of the beautiful things.
Sosua is definitely one of them places where you see like everybody pretty much getting along, even in different ethnic groups, like the white guys, the brothers. Everybody's kind of like getting along. I think it's like that. That's the Caribbean in itself, like that Pirates of the Caribbean. Like everybody just kind
Yeah.
of just doing them, man. I'm gonna catch a super chat. Shout out to my man T Mac with $10 super chat. Says BMT, Just supporting Black content creation. I appreciate your input last night. Yeah, I had to come over there and set the record straight out there on Zuma Thailand. Shout out to my man Zuma Thailand, man. But there was a lot of soft chewing on that stream, so I had to kind of go in there and just,
Yeah.
bringing everything back to reality, man. But
Yeah. Yep. What's the weather like right now, B? It's nice and hot,
You
right?
talking about out in Thailand or?
No, where you at?
Oh yeah, I'm sweating. So that's why between that and I mean, it ain't even noon yet, so I
Yeah.
usually don't pop out till like a little later, but I was up and I'm gonna walk down the flips a little later.
Word.
So
Word.
I'm still y'all spoke on this earlier, like I'm still learning Santo Domingo. So most of the time I'm here, I'm flying straight into Santo Domingo. It's cheaper too for
Mm-hmm.
me. And then I'll just catch the bus up here just to support the people I know and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I got a question for you, man. People in the chat said you can't find love in Sosua. It's all transactional. What would you say to that, man? Have you seen any brothers or known any brothers who, maybe marry someone they met in Sosua?
A ton of them. They keep trying to find love in the strip club. You can't.
Okay.
You're not gonna find love on Pedro Casante. Y'all looking for the wrong things. And another thing that I see a lot of guys do, and they maybe they feel like they're getting one up, or like I ain't messing with it, is the like people that work there, right? In like the areas, right? In the bars and in the restaurants, in the immediate area. That they ain't the one either, right? The quality women don't even want to be around it, right? They might work in the bank, they work in the hardware store. They don't even want to be around that environment. So yeah, you're not gonna find it like from the girl you met at Playero, because she's cool. Playero, hit or miss, a worker there, but a girl that's in there shopping, nah, she don't even want to be around that environment. So I tell brothers to spread out. I know a bunch of people that got great relationships from people they met. I know a ton of great girls. They hate it. Those type of girls, if you tell them let's go grab a drink on Pedro Cruzande, they can be like, nah, I'll meet you in Cabarete. They don't even want to be associated with it or around it. And that go back to the YouTube thing too. They wouldn't dare. They out just having a drink with a guy that they met at the airport. I mean, next thing you know, they show up on a YouTube video, and and they family call them like, "Hey, what you doing?"
Right.
So
That's true.
yeah. So yeah,
And,
but I know.
and like, what's like the layout of the suit at this point? I know you got your spot. Shout out to your spot. You got the pizza joint. You got wings and waffle. But like, is Envy back open or Classicos? Like, what's the? Maybe I'm going back in the day, but
To the good days.
like, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few little spots popped up. You got the restaurants. Envy still, that joint look like a ghost town. That joint's pretty much abandoned.
I mean, is it still operational at all, or
Not so much. Like I've looked in there, ain't no water in the pool. It's done. I think
damn.
a few girls might stay there, but that's it. I think the little strip club they opened, that joint didn't work out. So yeah, it ain't much. Some new restaurants and stuff. It's a new Indian spot that opened up that's pretty cool. Blue Ice still got a nice vibe over there. I think they're building, they're expanding. You got new people coming in all the time, opening new businesses, trying their hand out. It's very alluring because it's close to the U.S. So people are interested in opening businesses. So you see, people kind of coming and going, and the environment is starting to be a little more mixed. You got the Hard Rock that'll actually be opening soon. That's dope. A lot of people are talking about that, the Hard Rock Cafe. Um, Bailey's opened up a joint called the Sky Lounge that's super dope. But it's rarely any people in there. They do have a policy where you have to come with someone. Like the females can't just go hang out there solo. So it's more of a chill spot. Like I say, if you meet a regular girl, she might be cool with going there because they don't allow just random stuff to come through.
Is that on top of Bailey's or something? Where's that
That's
at?
on top of Bailey's with a crazy view. It's dope, man. But like nobody goes there, man. Got my brother Kalo K cigar bar over there. That's near Bailey's. So yeah, it's a few new little spots. Like I say, it's a little Indian spot. They got Indian food, and at night they do a little something something. And then everybody's now waiting for the opening of Classicos for all the nostalgic bros. They like, oh, Classicos open back up. So
Oh, they are opening back up.
well, we see them building. They still build it, and hasn't opened yet. We haven't got an open date. But that's what everybody's just kind of waiting and seeing. And once it open, I think a lot of the bros that used to come, they'll come back mainly for the nostalgia because it was great. It was dope and good times there.
Right, man. So do you see like, everybody pretty much going to Colombia now? Is there still a good crowd or good numbers still coming through the Sioux? Or you think everybody just kind of just on that Colombian wave still?
It's tough to say what's the exact pull. So overall, it's less. It's not like sometimes I used to pull out in that corner on like Saturday night and it'd be crazy. Like yo, it's crazy out here, and I don't see that anymore. But it's hard to say because economically things are just tough. So I think all places have seen a little pullback. I know, like I say, a lot of guys are hanging out in Colombia. I see more dudes taking that trip out to Thailand now. So guys are really spreading their wings. But it's hard to tell. I would have to see if someone who's been in Colombia for a while say, "Hey, man, we've seen a pullback in the last year or so." Because economically, like I say, things are a lot more challenging. And I will say, like we're talking about the airport is starting to be a deterrent. The flights are they just insane coming into POP. I get guys every week like, man, can't keep doing this, bro. The flights is too crazy. So it would push somebody to be like, well, shoot, Spirit go to a thing on Cartagena. They're like, man, I just went on this, I just went to Cartagena for $300. So. But it's dope, man. I encourage guys to get all around. Go to hang out in Colombia, and I'm probably go to Argentina this year, and there's a couple other places I'm interested in going to to check out. I encourage brothers to just move around. Find something you're interested. Like I said, I love the culture and the food cultures. So that's why I want to go to Argentina because I'm interested in some of their food culture. I'll probably go spend some time in Mexico, and I'm trying to get with the abuelas and really get some of those recipes, the real deal, and add that type of stuff to my menu.
Man, yeah, because your menu is dope, bro. You got some of the best food in the Sioux, the mac and cheese, the wings. It's hidden, bro.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man. I'm just trying to build, man. Like I said, now I'm building out. My favorite cuisines are Mexican and Asian. So
you come to Thailand then, brother.
Yeah. I love Thai food, man. I'm definitely, when I do come, you're going to have to hook me up because I want to go and to some cooking classes and really get some techniques and stuff and come back. And when I be like, yo, I got pad Thai, that joint need to be authentic. Like, nah, bro, my joint's official.
Man, they be calling me the pad Thai guy in the restaurant I be going to now. They be like, oh, this is the pad Thai guy. I'm like, damn, I get this shit almost
man. And that junk be, and like I'm in DC, they busting you in the head for them noodles. I'm like, bro, you're paying about $2 out in Thailand for the dang on pad Thai, man.
Shit, it'd be like $1, really. Damn, $1, man. I want to give a shout out to my man T-Mac. He says, I recommend people avoid Colombia. I'm not sure if he's trying to be shot.
He's trying to gatekeep.
Yeah, I mean, but people don't understand, man, like the amount of stories that we've heard by, having the Passport Bros Facebook group. Yeah. Because a lot of guys don't report what's happened to them, but they might hit us
I'd say 95% of the dudes, it's embarrassing, and that's why I tell dudes, I'm like, you'll see a few stories here and there, but dog, it's literally 10 times worse because the dudes, they just, they embarrassed. They're not going to tell you what's happening, man.
Yeah, and I mean, in general, we would say Dominican Republic is much safer. Much, in my opinion, it's pretty. You gotta watch for a few little places in a few neighborhoods. I mean, it's definitely. I think all Latin countries. Let's be real. Like, you got to kind of keep your head.
Yeah. Anywhere you go in the world.
But Colombia, bro, like, man.
Yeah. Colombia is a different game. When dudes be like, "Oh man, you gotta know how to move," I'm like, "Yeah, that means if you come to Detroit." I'm gonna say, hey man, go hang out downtown. I'm not gonna tell you to go to motherfucking Mac and Bewick. I'm not gonna tell you to go hang out on 7 Mile. You know what I mean? Because it goes down. You know, so I don't know how. It's tough to say go on vacation and have fun, but you can't sit with your back, on the head on the swivel, you know what I mean, and don't drink nothing, don't eat nothing, and don't use no hand sanitizer, and don't get into no cabs, and you know what I mean. The list goes on and on. And I was explaining in the video the other day. I was like, it's their job to come up with how we can get somebody. So as much as you can try to stay on your P's and Q's, you're a hardworking person going to work, taking care of you, your family, whatever, your people, and enjoying life. These jokers here, all day long, they like, yo, how can we get somebody? The other big mistake I think people forget is they think it's random girls that's just be like, yo, girl, let's start getting people. As far as I'm concerned, this joint is organized crime. These aren't
for sure.
The cartel runs everything, and I don't think dudes don't really understand that. It's the reason that when they happen to catch somebody, they never go to jail or nothing, right? Because they're part of a big ring, a structure, a system that's way bigger than you.
Yeah, they be covering the girl face and everything. I'm like, why would you cover the girl face from drugging people so we can't see who it is? Like, come on, bro. Like,
yeah. So, I don't, I just tell brothers to move around, have fun, be cautious. It's just in Colombia, you got to be a little bit more cautious. I like, get to some other parts, go to Santa Marta, Barranquilla, and, Cartagena's cool.
Yeah, we got the Colombian defenders in here, bro. You said something about
Colombia,
bro.
they love it. They love it. They
gonna make it seem like it's just so cool and laid back. And I'm like,
yeah,
I love Colombia. I lived in Colombia for 2 years, so I know. But at the same time, I got a little hood in me, so I'm not gonna be naive about
exactly.
I know the poverty mindset is take what you can get from somebody if they're easy lick, and you in another country, you're gonna be an easy lick. So
automatically.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you live there, you know what I mean? And you experience it. You like, listen, man, this was going on. And when you live there, stuff don't happen to you because they're like, yo, he lives there, right? So you just sit back and see all the shit happening to other people. Like, God damn.
I'm gonna have to drop a link, man. I'm gonna have to hold on because we got defenders coming in here. Cornell Mother said I had a great time in Medellin. Nobody bothered me. My room was about 5-minute walk from the park of years. I'm like, bro, you had a decent time, but keep going.
Right. I mean, so when people say that to me, I grew up in Detroit. Detroit's been the worst place. I mean, hell, they still probably in the top 10 of worst cities in the country. I've been fortunate. I made it out, and I wasn't murdered or shot. But the key word is I was fortunate. I'm not gonna tell nobody that, hey man, I ain't been shot. Detroit is safe. No, nigga, Detroit is not safe. And if you go in there from New York or some other place, they can tell you not from there, and that makes it more dangerous for you because you look different. The same thing happens when you go overseas. Okay, this guy is not from here, right? So you can go 100 times and be like, "Oh man, I've been 100 times, ain't nothing ever happened to me." I don't mean it's not safe, bro. You're a target. You know what I mean? When you hit the airport in Colombia, you're a target. They sitting outside like, okay, maybe we'll try this guy.
Like some piranhas. I remember my first time going to Medellin, a guy tried to get me into his taxi, and I was just like, nah, not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah, they be on that. They be on it.
As a matter of fact, Dale, I don't want to hold you too long, brother, but I want to play something real quick. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I want to just, he got a lot of music in the background, but I'm going to try to skip through it. So this brother right here, just to sum it up real quick, this guy was basically in Cartagena. And, people say take the Ubers because the Ubers are safe, but the Uber cut the ride while he was in it. And, he got out the ride and basically some robbers were right there. So the Uber driver set him up. And what he's pointing at right there is actually a scarf of a machete. All right. That's a scarf of a machete. So he has music playing in the background. So I really can't, play it without getting demonetized or anything like that. But to sum it up, he got set up by his Uber driver. What he did wrong, he said, was basically he sat in the back seat and not the front seat. So I will suggest, guys, if you do decide to take an Uber, sit in the front seat. I always sit in the front seat in them Ubers, right? Directly to the driver if he's trying to do something sneaky or something crazy, and he's going in a different direction from your GPS, he's right there at your disposal to kind of be like, "Hey, bro, what you doing?" You know what I'm saying? You can't.
Right.
It's hard for somebody to rob you when they driving in. They trying to, you know. So, sit in the front basically is what I'm gonna say, because he sat in the back and they almost got him, man. They almost took his life out there. So,
yeah, and that's the type of things, man. You know, you can say, "Oh, man, you just got to know how to." I mean, it's just adding on to the list. Okay, but don't drink this, don't drink water, don't use hand sanitizer, don't get into a taxi, don't ride with the Uber. I mean, at that point, what you going for? You know what I mean? That's what I get with the. Oh, you got to know how to move. You got to know how to move, bruh. You ain't moving. You got to just get there and sit in the Airbnb. So yeah, you know, it's cool. You know, you go and you got to be safe though, and I don't think that don't sound like a vacation, and it's tough, man. Like I say, it took me like 2 times to catch on to the what's the name thing, and I was getting extorted by the police there, and I'm like, this shit ain't no coincidence, dog.
In Colombia?
Yeah. So like I jump in the taxi or something, and, you know, the police pull over the taxi. Then they all in your face. And you're like, bro, I ain't got nothing to do with this, bro. I'm not driving this car. You holler at that man. You know, they, oh, give me your passport, give me that. You know, and then they come with some old foo-foo bull crap like, oh, you got drugs. You know, fucking drugs, bro. And he's like, oh, yeah, you know, you got to give me X, Y, Z. And I'm like, how the hell that shit happened once? And then it happened again on another trip. And I'm like, nah. I was like, the taxi dudes here, they got police homeboys. And they just pick up people, call their police homeboy, like, yo, pull me over. We got one. And I said, this joint crazy, right? So I started messing with the Ubers. But now you like, all right, but check this. This is what the Uber's doing now, right? So what
I remember the first time not first time, but the first couple of months I was in Medellin, bro. Would it be the taxi drivers, the Uber drivers? We would tell them, hey man, it's a checkpoint right here. It's always here. Don't go that way. And them drivers would still figure out a way to kind of sneak their way right through that way, you know. And it was like always like a little light shakedown. They never take nothing from us, but it's just like, bro, we know y'all gonna be here every night. This is like smack dab during COVID, so they had all these crazy rules and everything. They were trying to figure out a way to kind of get in your pockets.
Yep.
I mean, they do that in DR too. So, you know,
that's funny because I've never had like a real, like every time it was some real stuff they got me on, like, hey man, you ain't got on no seatbelt, you know. And they like, well, we're gonna write you a ticket. And I'm like, man, I got a couple hundred pesos, man. Let's just let me slide this time, you know, buy some lunch, you know. And they like, all right, cool. But I've never had like a shakedown type. Hey man, what you got for us? Like that's weird, but I believe it because people say it happened, right? And that's just going back to how people like, oh, I go to Colombia, I don't have no problem. Listen, man, if people are telling you, hey, this joint happens, it happens. Yeah.
That's true, man. That's true. So let me ask you this, man. We got to go to the entrepreneur chapter, man. You opened up Wings and Waffle, but you're actually on your 3rd restaurant right now, right?
Yeah, yep. We got 3 restaurants now. We got the pizzeria, and then the last thing open was another Wings and Waffle in Puerto Plata on the Malecon.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is that like a lot of, you know, moving and shaking? Like, which business would you recommend for the guys to pull up to? They want to have a good time.
Yeah, I tell guys, man, especially like the Puerto Plata, especially if you got a little joint that you vibe with, you know, go out there. I encourage all the guys that come to Sosua to go hang out in Puerto Plata anyway, because Sosua, you know, they compare it. They be like, oh, Medellin's better than Sosua. Man, Sosua's like a little small beach town, bro, and y'all only hang out in like 3 blocks of it.
Right, that's true.
You know, so I tell them to go to Puerto Plata to experience more culture, right? They got lounges and clubs and stuff out there you can hang out in, or you can go hang out on the Malecon. It's dope, you know. So I tell people, if you got a little chick or something, or you just want a different vibe, go to the Puerto Plata location. You'll still feel comfortable because it's Americans there. We speak in English. It's on the ocean front. For my cigar smokers, you can sit there, smoke a cigar, eat good, relax, and have some good vibes, man. So definitely check out the Puerto Plata location. If not even to go to the restaurant, just go to Puerto Plata, hang out and get a different experience about that. So they're not gonna be chasing you down because you're American. You know what I mean? Sometimes y'all done got a little. I'm the man. Yeah, go to a different area. You're gonna find out. Yeah, we don't care. You're American. But yeah, go out there and get a different experience, get a different vibes. My man Jesse said the pizzeria. The
Yeah, there you go.
pizzeria is right on the corner, Pedro Crescente and DR Rosen, like right in front of Roomba and some people call it Kings. It's right on the rooftop.
Man, I'm so glad you put that pizzeria out there, man, because I don't know why Dominicans love Little Caesars. That's so trash, bro. Them Little Caesars pizzas, bro. I'd be like, bro, tastes like
The pizza in
cardboard.
DR sucked, man. The pizza overall sucked. And people be like, yo, how you come up with like ideas for your restaurants? It just be stuff that I be wanting. And I be like, man, the
Right.
pizza suck here. I'm over the pizzeria.
Man, they be killing that Little Caesars out there. You would think it was like Pizza
Yeah,
Hut. They be killing Little Caesars, bro.
man.
Because it's the cheapest pizza. Because pizza is expensive out there in DR. Actually.
That was one of the things that blew my mind, man. Pizza is really expensive. And this gonna kind of segue into something else. I don't want to get too far into it, but the pizza is expensive there. And once I opened the pizzeria, I found out why, right? Because it's expensive. The ingredients are expensive. So then once I dug deeper into us, right? Because we like, bro, you can buy a pizza for $5 in the US, $6, $7, Domino's and all
Right.
that stuff. Man, that joint ain't even real, bro. Because I was like, why is it? I was like, oh, they just got better distribution and stuff, bro. There's a reason why you can take a slice of pizza here and leave it on the counter for 5 days and nothing happens. It ain't even real. The cheese not real. It is almost a chemistry project, man. So if you come to DR, you might get a little sticker shock on the pizza, but it's real. I use tomatoes and oregano and I grate cheese. It's all real. Even when you buy shredded cheese, the reason why if you shred cheese at home and it clumps up, and if you buy it from the store, it'll be in the store all day and it'll clump up because it's coagulants, it's chemicals on it. Right,
Oh
so
damn.
that's why the cheese don't clump up. All right, it's fake. But yeah, take a piece of pizza, go buy a pizza, put it on the counter for 6 days, and see what happened here in the U.S. May never happen, and it's not gonna mold. It's gonna be none of that because it's not real. So you'll see a little sticker shock. You might, you buy a large pizza in DR, it's gonna be about $20, maybe $22, but it's a real pizza. And if you buy pizza from like Italian pizzerias in the U.S., you'll see their pizzas are like 20 something dollars, 27, $26, because they're using real ingredients. Your big chains is faking. It don't even have to be a big chain. I can buy cheap fake cheese here in the US and sell cheap pizza, but it's not real. And DR,
Right.
they don't have that. They don't have like fake cheese and stuff. So most of the pizzas are expensive.
You know what I noticed about living in the DR, man? Food in general is kind of expensive out there. Maybe because it's an island, but the food, it's like the highest food prices I've ever paid while living overseas was in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, the food itself is expensive. A lot of my stuff I pay more than it costs in the U.S. The food, and like I
Damn.
say, it's because it's an island. Some stuff is imported in. It's not as big as a landmass for the agricultural piece, like South America. So yeah, it's because it's an island, and the food costs can get a little pricey there.
It's hard because I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, if these prices is remotely kind of high for an American, I
Yep.
can imagine it not being high for a Dominican of their side. Of their
That
average salary.
joint hurts me, man, because the average person where the average pay is very tough to make it. It's very tough because, like you say, the food costs they'll eat around it essentially. Eat la bandera. You know what I mean? They are buying rice and beans and chicken,
Rice and beans, yeah.
right? Because once you deviate from that and say, hey, let me go get some Angus beef, it's going through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's high. The food and stuff is high there, and I always look at the future. I'm a little concerned because in the U.S. we had the middle class, the industrial age, where people were able to make good money and pull themselves up. And I don't see that there. So I'm interested to see what happens in the next 10 years, because even their housing, while we look at it and we like, man, that's crazy. She got an apartment for $300 a month.
Right.
Well, if you only earn $500 a month, that's
Oh,
still
no.
a horrible situation to be in. Right. And as
Mm-hmm.
we just said, food itself, it rivals the US prices. So yeah, it's interesting. I'd love to see them invest in tech. carve out an industry besides tourism to their people can start to get into and generate, income, a living. Because even the houses, real estate is my thing, and I'm like, bro, these houses, people come down there still looking for the houses that used to be 10 years ago and 15 years ago. Like I'm trying to buy a crib for 60,000. Ain't gonna happen, bro. Crib's like 250 now, for a decent crib. So it costs. And I also look at that and I say, dang, how are Dominicans gonna be able to afford to buy a house? Or will they
Is
have
that
to rent?
is that mainly like in like the tourist areas that is priced up?
You'll see a little bit more because there's more demand, but I deal with building, so I'm looking at the raw materials. I'm like, hey, they couldn't even build this house for 30, 40 grand. So yeah, it's pricey. Building materials are going up about 10% a year. So it's just constantly getting out of reach for them to be able to buy a home. And unlike like the US, where we're just putting a small down payment there and getting 30-year loans, they can get loans, but it's still going to require a substantial down payment. Even if they had to come up with 10 grand in a down payment, I mean, you're talking Americans ain't got $10,000. Imagine you make
Right,
$500 a month and you're trying to save 10 grand.
right,
It'll never happen. Yeah.
right. We got a super chat real quick, about man Scott Cook. Super chat. He says, "Dale is that dude.
Oh,
Just
that's
saw
my
him in
guy.
DR, the travel DOC, the travel doc.
Yeah, that's my man, the travel doctor, man. Me and him got some dope things in the work, man. Some awesome philanthropy stuff planned, man. And I met him through the group, and that's why I say though the group is crazy, man. And this is a perfect example. This man is very accomplished, and he don't just call himself the doc. He's a goddamn physician, right? Major
Okay.
physician, top dog.
Hey, them docs be crazy. I mean y'all doctors overseas, y'all be
Yeah,
crazy, man. They like the
yeah.
wildest dudes. Not to say you are, Scott, but you know,
Yeah, so
I'm like,
man,
damn,
shout
you a
out.
doctor? Like, damn, shit,
Yeah,
wild as hell.
shout out to the doc, man. But
Yeah, I know y'all. I know what
they
y'all be
over
doing.
there.
Y'all be carrying them kits with y'all overseas. Like, shit.
He
Yeah,
over. As a
man,
matter of
that's
fact, I'm
crazy.
gonna share something because he was telling me about a story, and it just might save somebody's life real quick. So if you ever there, and y'all might have knew this, I'm just a little stupid, but if you like, bust your head or something, fall and get a laceration, um, make sure you get it stitched up. If it's a good enough thing, we might feel like, oh, it's gonna heal. But if you get on that flight and they pressurize that cabin and that wound ain't healed yet, it's going to expose it and it's going to be a problem on that plane. And I didn't know this, what I mean? I just would have figured, hey man, I got my band-aid on it, stop bleeding, I'm good. But no, if you get a good enough laceration, go ahead and get it stitched up, because if it's not healed and stitched up there, once they pressurize that cabin, that bad boy going
That's true. That's true. Shout out to my man Scott Cook, man. I really appreciate that super chat, man. Was talking about the ladies a little bit out there in the DR now. I would say, as far as the Dominicans, I'm not saying all of them, but I see like it's more of the pressure to get back to the States than Colombia and Brazil. Like it seemed like they're really trying to do the green card thing. Would you say that's like a big thing out there, or maybe they're promoting it more than what people say it is out there? Because I have heard Dominican women like, "Hey, I want to go back to America."
Yeah, I think they have a greater connection to the U.S. than a lot of other countries, right? They literally, I'd imagine every Dominican person knows someone or has some family that live in the U.S. So they have a great connection to the U.S. It's still sold as the dream. Us who have lived there, we're like, yeah, it's cool, but it's some challenges. But them, they just see it as a dream. I mean, they only usually when I ask them about it, they like, oh, New York or Miami. Yeah, sometimes DC. It's only the major cities that they really talk about. But I imagine every Dominican person I've ever met, they have family or friends or know people that live there. So they
Mm-hmm.
like, and I ain't gonna lie, man. And this is probably a whole show in itself. I'm getting more into the trauma and the past of how our people act, and I see it with them. But they want to get to the U.S., right? So when I see Dominicans that live in the States, they come back to DR, they laying it out, bro. Even if they life ain't good in the U.S., and we know shit be rough, but their fronts are all the way up. They on the plane, Gucci down, head to toe. You know, they didn't got it off Broadway, but they family don't know, right? They jewelry, Gucci down. They coming over there buying Johnny Walker Gold. They living it up. So their family looks like, bro, the U.S. is the promised land. My cousin just got here. She got Chanel bags. She gold and diamonds and designer down the head to toe. I got to get to the U.S. And, you know, I see it. I see it, you know, direct. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. They sell them the dream. You know, they come over here and they sell them the dream. So I think that's definitely one of the reasons, like, they want to get there. They know someone. I don't have my buddy, he left Africa. So I'd imagine if I had, you know, some family or something living in some countries within Africa, and they just like, yo, it's amazing, life is amazing. I'm more apt to be like, I want to go to Ghana, right? Or I want to go to Kenya. So I think that's essentially what happened. They just got more influence in the U.S. than somebody in Thai, right? You probably talk to 10 Thai people, and one of them might be like, oh, I got a cousin in the U.S.
Right.
Yeah,
That's true. That's
yeah.
true. I'm gonna give a shout out to my man, Life of Bill in the building with the 5 super chat, man. I like the icon, by the way, brother. He
That's
says,
my dog.
shout out to the day one passport bros. Yeah, I used to holler at Life of Bill all the time, man.
Yeah,
That's my dude. Shout out to you,
smart
bro.
brother, man, real smart brother.
Yeah, shout out to you, most definitely. Most definitely, bro. We got a 90 American expat in the building. We got my man T Mac still pulling up in the building. That's what's up, man. Guys, if you do decide to hop on the panel, make sure that you cam up for us. I got to see who we talking to. Right? We got to see who we talking to, man. Do you think, in your opinion, man?
Yeah, they do. He said they be stunning working me now. Yeah, they be stunning hard.
Yeah. Do you think, in your opinion, man, guys can still pretty much like find genuine relationships in the Dominican Republic? Not talking about Sosua, but just in general.
Yeah, I know quite a few guys that's, you know, they rocking and rolling. They've been with their joint for some years. I know some of them that took them back to the States. I don't recommend that. And I say fall in love with their culture. I mean, even from just an economic standpoint, you can provide a lot more for her in her country. If you're not that guy, because you got to remember how we were just talking, their perception, their cousins are, and in their mind, rocking Gucci and Louis and Chanel bags head to toe. So when they get with you, and then you bring her back to the States and she like, oh, I want to get a Chanel bag. And you like, yo, I ain't got it like that. She like, wait, what the hell happened? Right? You know, my cousin rocking Chanel, like you broke. So I tell dudes, stay there. You know, that's your best bet, because just overall, you can have a better quality of life. You can do fine dining. I mean, hell, you can have a housekeeper and a maid cook for you, you know, for $300, $400, $500 a month. You know, stay there. And live a good life. Don't come to the U.S. and struggle with your new bride. You know.
And I got a tough question for you. I gotta play devil's advocate a little bit with you, Cardell. Now, we've seen a lot of changes in Sue the last, few years. Is there like a certain type of brother that's kind of like giving it a bad name, or you know what I mean? Like, people always say that the brothers messed up Sosua. Is it just certain types of individuals? Is it certain guys coming from certain cities that's ruined the game? Like, what's going on out there? Is there any truth to that?
Hey, man, they ain't gonna like this. And it could just be because the concentration, right? It might be because there's a lot of them, and I'm gonna give them a little leeway because of their situation, man. But dudes always be like, yo, the New York dudes messed it up. And when I see guys, right, throwing money in the street and stuff, that's usually that they got all the NY fitteds on. They like, yo, son. And I see dudes at the restaurants, and they always like recap their night while they out there eating the wings and wobbles. Like, yo, shorty, that, and then I did this and that. Man, you know what I mean? The old girl was cool. I just gave her 200 because boom, boom. And I'd be like, yeesh. Now, in their defense, right, and especially these are mostly new travelers. Everything is really expensive in New York. Everything's really expensive in DC. So I do understand where it just seems like it wasn't much money, because back home, right? Their mentality is always, well, back home I pay this. I go on a date, I spend $200 on a date and get a hug. So yeah, they do some flossing. I think they might get the bad rap just because I'd say probably I feel like 35% of the people that come there from New York.
Right now, is it like, in your opinion, because you got businesses there, brother? Is it like Atlanta dudes, maybe a certain way they turn up a little bit, college ruckus, or New York dudes, or dudes from Philly? Like, what's the wildest the group that you encounter most of the time?
Man, that's tough, man. I'm gonna have to say New York, but I think it's just by pure numbers because there's so many of them. I can't recall oftentimes like, oh, we got these groups of dudes from Atlanta coming in heavy all the time. I think it's just because there's so many of them, they kind of get the rap, right? They get like, oh, it's New York
Okay.
dudes. But that is what I see wilding. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, the New York dudes, they out here doing their thing. They flossing, you know?
Do you think it might be because like Dominicans in New York, that's like kind of like a staple,
Absolutely.
so they familiar, and some of the
They
New York dudes
familiar,
speak
yeah.
Spanish
They've been
already
eating
too.
food. They've been interacting with the people all their lives. They got bad Dominican joints that work at the job with them. They homeboy, he Dominican, you know. So they integrating with the culture. I think that in the combination of it's expensive in the city, they like, yo, man, it's nothing. We out here, we wilding, we getting money, you know. The city dudes, you know. I love my New Yorkers. They rock with me heavy at the restaurant. But yeah, and then you got they've been coming a long time too. So you got old heads, New Yorkers that's been like, you know, coming a long time. They like keep it low, fellas, you know. And then you got the new guys, the first time coming, you know, they wilding out. I had some guys rent my penthouse and you know, I rented some ATV. I mean, these dudes was wilding. I mean, the first night he like, yo, man, I don't know where the ATV is and I lost the key. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know where it is? Oh man, we got drunk last night. I don't even know where I left it and I can't find the key. You know, and I'm like, no, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like they was wilding. And then once we find it, it's all scratched up. And I'm like, what? And then his other man told him, oh yeah, man, you remember you drove into the bushes, you fell in the bushes. And I'm like, bro, and they had been there like less than 24 hours. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a rough week for y'all, bro.
Catch a super chat, bro, man. T Mac with $10 super chat once again, man. I appreciate that. He says, you mentioned that you do real estate development. I have that type of corp in Colombia. You mentioned the cost of materials. Have you looked at containers to control material and labor costs?
Yeah, I actually did look at some of them container homes. They got a few people out here that's getting down and building them. I did see. I'll have to bring over specialized equipment to cut them because they don't fully have the proper equipment. They like barbaric building over this joint.
Right.
But yeah, you can build a container home for less. Like I looked at some models actually where they kind of had things laid out and you get a couple like 2 40-foot containers and 3 40-foot containers. And I was able to build those at a lower rate. Now I had to do more research because to me it seemed like it'd just be literally like a hot box. But I definitely had to do some more research on that. But if you got some insight, man, tap in with me, shoot me a message, man. Let's build on that.
Facts. Shout out to my man for the super chat, my man T Mac. I got my man International Zoe in the building now. You know he's from the NY. You know he's from the NY. He says that's cap. There are so many Dominican women that the thrill of Dominican women isn't the same as guys from other places. Dominican women are new to other cats from other states. So I'm not saying
let me reread it.
He's not really disagreeing with you, but he's just saying that you know.
Dominican women, that the thrill of Dominican women isn't the same as guys. I can get with the thrill, like the excitement. It's just like with anything, you know, man. You get a brand new car, you've been wanting that Benz, and 6 months.
Man, New York dudes be simps, man. Let's be real. Let's be real. New York cats be simps over them women, bro. Y'all not used to having them pretty women like that. You know what I mean? Y'all got them masculine bitches from the Bronx and shit. Like, let's be. Y'all got them. What's the Remy Ma type chicks, man? Y'all, the biggest simps I be seeing be coming from up north, New York, Mississippi. They be simping up in Mississippi too. But the dudes with the best, I would say, that's used to pretty women are going to be from Atlanta, California, Detroit. You know, those dudes is kind of used to having baddies all the time. Used to having pretty women. My dudes from New York, y'all think y'all can buy. Let's be honest. Y'all think y'all can just, floss y'all way into love and shit. Let's just keep it a buck. If you disagree, you can come on the panel. If you disagree, shout out to Zoe. I'm messing with Zoe right now. He said, just because the guy has a New York cap doesn't mean he's from New York. That's true, too.
I will give you that, yeah.
I'll give you that, Zoe.
I'll give you
You
that.
made a good point, so.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys like that cap. It's a popular staple in hip. You'll never see me wear a New York cap, but I feel what you're saying, though. Let me welcome the technologists in the building. What technology? Oh, hold on, bro. You got the 1999 Wi-Fi there, brother. I don't know if we're going to be able to.
You got the dial up?
You got the dial up, brother. What's going on with the technology? You named the technologist, man. What's up with your internet, brother?
I just blurred the background.
Say the technologist got the dial up.
What's going on, man? You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't really see you that well, but we can hear you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got my background blurred. I got a lot of stuff back here, so I didn't want to put that out there. But basically, I just wanted to congratulate Dale on the pizzeria. I didn't know that was your spot because I would be sitting at Rumba's a few times, you know, and I would just see the people going upstairs on the little side door.
Yeah.
And I see the ladies sitting up there sometimes. It don't be that busy, but I'm going to support you.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to let you know when I go back. And I wanted to ask you, how much did that cost you to start up? Because I just bought a condo there on probably about 3 or 4 businesses down. It's an apartment condos complex. I bought one up in there. So I do my little
congratulations,
Airbnb.
Dog.
Yeah. So I was just saying to myself that my next investment there might be a business. So I see some brothers get into the business and they get out of it. Like there was one guy that opened up the little game place and they turned it into something else. And then there's another brother, he got the hookah lounge across the street. So I noticed there's a lot of brothers opening businesses, and I wanted to know how much, you know, you ain't got to give me all the details, but just a general perspective of what did that cost you and what does that cost per month to maintain.
That's a lot. Oh, Dale, I don't know if you want to give all that information away, brother.
Well, I mean, it's business. I can find out on my own and ask around. You know what I mean? But I'm just asking one. He understands that he's not giving up
nothing. To pay for a consultation, my brother. I mean, come on, you asking
it's not
real deal business. The game is sold, not told, my brother.
I'll give you some
proprietary. That's not what I'm asking him. I'm just asking him a general function, business functioning cost.
Yeah, I'll give you some. So, you know, that particular
he's going to open up a pizzeria right across the street there.
No, I'm not, bro. I'm not that type of dude. I'm from South Central, and I'm not the type of person that would, you know, shortstop you in any type of way.
Yeah, so like that, I wouldn't suggest someone do what I did there. The reason people, they be like, yeah, where did this come from? Because there was nothing there. It was literally nothing there. It was just a rooftop. It was just a roof. And I built it all out. Right. So I don't suggest you go deep into building, because business there is tough. You see a lot of places that come and go because they think it's easy, right? But business there is very challenging, and you have a lot of elements that you have no control over. Like now, like the flights are really high, right? So overall, Sosua is just slower because the flights are really expensive. So there's a lot of things you tough. If you open up a sub shop in your city and people start to know that you have a good sub shop, those same people will come every week and get a sub. He get his check on Friday. That's his thing. I'm going there to get a Philly from my man on this block. When you open up a business international, your customers come twice a year. You understand? So it takes a while to really build a following and a consistent flow of customers that can support your business. What most people get enamored by is it's inexpensive compared to the US. So they're like, man, they only want $1,000 a month rent for this spot? Man, I can open this, I can open that. But they don't think about, okay, yeah, in your city, there may be 1.6 million people, right? In Sosua, you got these same 4,000, not even 4, maybe 2,000 guys that come once or twice a year that you have to try to make your money from. So most businesses, unfortunately, fail because they haven't understood that it's very, very challenging there. to be successful, mainly because that customer base is not one that you would have in a normal city. These people are coming, and it's not even a lot of people. It's not like Tulum or Mexico City, or even some spots in Jamaica that have some insane tourism numbers. You know, it's a lot smaller amount of people that you're working with, and it takes time if you got a great product for them to build, and you get that residual where people land and say, "Hey, I'm going here." So most businesses won't make it out of 6 months there. Yeah.
No, I got you. I bought my condo to live there
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Real
So
estate you can't lose on. Real estate,
yeah,
you got a condo that's within goddamn 5 minutes walking to a beach.
exactly.
Never sell that motherfucker.
No, I'm not. I got it for about 85K.
Yeah,
So
never
it
sell
was
that junk.
it
Real
was a
estate is
good.
a long game. You got to think what will somebody pay for something on 5 minute walk to a beach in 20 years? Right?
Exactly. No, I'm with you. I'm with you because
Yeah.
they're building up the beach as well. You know, all
Yep. Yeah.
the construction that's going on there. But I was just curious because, you know, I want to know how deep I should plant my feet there. You know what I mean? Because it seems like having a business would actually, you know, be good. But just the
Yeah,
right
some
type of
businesses
business.
are. You have to, well, you got to live there. You pretty much got to live there or be there a lot to run a successful business. That's another challenge. Like you gotta live there.
Gotcha.
Real estate is great. It's not hands on. You don't have to be there. Property managers and stuff can really run it. A day-to-day business with transactions, you got to be there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
Are
right,
there
bro.
like any?
I ain't gonna hold you up. I just wanted to ask you those questions and congratulate you because I always saw the pizza spot. I go down there like every 3 months. So I
Yeah.
always, you know, you gonna stop at Ramba. I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I would just always see people sneaking upstairs. You know,
Yeah.
and I knew it was pizza up there, but I just didn't know it was a brother that owned it. So
Yeah.
I was just like,
For sure.
okay. When I heard that, I was like, I'm gonna support you next
Yeah. For
time.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and I'm
Definitely.
going
I'll
but
come
I'm
check
going
you
back
out.
homie
and
sound like too short.
Yeah. Yeah. He from out there, out
I'm
west
going back in
coast.
July.
Okay. For sure. Yeah. Check
Actually
me out,
June,
brother.
end of June.
All right.
All right, let me catch a super
All right.
chat here, but my man CT Dash Bone with a 5 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. He is correct. Average is $300 a month for a nice apartment in a gated community. I got one there, and my chica is loving the place. Shout out to
Yeah.
man CT Bone. He probably from New York, paying girls
Yeah,
rent and shit.
and that's the beauty, man. That's and you know, so we'll touch into the supposed simps and stuff. Listen, man. As far as I'm concerned, you dealing with a woman, you're gonna be taking care of her. She taking care of you. You're taking care of her. It's just more reasonable in DR. You know, I think the problem in the U.S. is guys, it's not affordable. So then they just flip it and be like, man, no, I ain't doing this and that. But it's affordable overseas, right? If you deal with a female as a man, you're gonna do something. You're gonna pay a phone bill, a light bill, or something like that. And it'd be crazy sometimes. I see in the chat, dude, like, man, this chick trying to ask me for $40 for a phone bill. I'm like, hell no, I ain't no simp. And I'd be like, bro, you just had a couple posts where she was washing your clothes and ironing your underwear. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think people go too far with the simp talk. I ain't no simp.
Shout out to my man J Rax in the building. What up, J Rax?
What's up? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you good, man. What's going on out there in Colombia, brother?
All is well. No, bro, I wanted to jump on live and say congrats to all the businesses that you have. We need to see more brothers like you that's doing stuff like that, and I think it's admirable that what you're doing. And I used to own a coffee shop in downtown Baltimore, so I know the struggle of being an independent business owner, and we need. First of all, I'm thankful that you do these lives with Aaron, because you know it gives people information about living abroad, having businesses abroad, and a lot of times to people in the chat, in these other chats that's kind of boring, especially information from married men is boring too. So they don't really hear from people like us, like real boots on the ground. And I want to say thanks for doing the live, man. You're giving out real good information about Dominican Republic, a place that I've always wanted to visit. But just like people hear stereotypical stuff about Colombia, I hear the stuff about Dominican Republic, and I don't go. I mean,
hold on, Jay.
And I'm married now too, so I'm married again, and so that prevents me too from unless I get information. That's why I asked you.
Hold on, Jay.
Yeah.
But what do you hear bad about the DR?
Okay, well, all the stereotypical stuff, like me no black stuff. You know what I mean? Or like and your topic the topic is about YouTubers ruining Sosua and stuff like that. I don't know if it's that, because I see videos of the Dominican Republic from like the hood, like and they're being sent out by people from the Dominican Republic. Like what's the artist down there named Jazzling?
Oh, Yaylene, yeah.
Yeah, I see hood rat videos from that kind of stuff, and that's not the YouTubers. That's from the Dominican Republic. It's like, man, they down there like Cardi B. This is ridiculous. And so it's that kind of stuff. So we need real brothers like you to give out cultural information and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And not have to charge people. And like I remember one time when I was 6 years ago when I was researching Colombia, I asked a popular YouTuber about the music there. And he was like, you got to pay for consultation. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. So I did my own research. And I come to find out this brother ain't know shit. He know nothing about, he was a straight up nerd. And it took me a couple years to find that out, but I would have paid for that shit. And so I'm glad you're here giving good, positive, real information about, another country. And that's why I wanted to jump on.
Appreciate you, man. What part of Colombia you in?
I'm in Medellin.
Medellin, yeah, man. Come on, get on the plane and go to DR, man. Enjoy some palm trees and some water.
I gotta ask you, brother. Like, what is it that you're doing that you've been living there without any incidents? Like, what is the differences you doing from guys who go out there and be out there 2 days and get drugged?
Well, two things. One, I have a really big advantage because my wife is Colombian. And her family takes care of me. They watch out for J Rags. You know what I mean? They're like a couple of her family members co-signed on apartments because if you're not a Colombian citizen, the only apartment you're going to get is furnished apartments negotiated with Airbnb owners. You're not going to get an empty apartment that's cheaper unless you get somebody to co-sign for you. So they've been in my corner like that. And we go to all the neighborhoods people say is bad. I can go there with my wife because she knows where to go, when to go, and how to go. And not that we go there, but she's knowledgeable about the country. That's one thing. And personally, as you said before, I'm a DJ, and I've DJ'd in Colombia more than 250 times, and I always catch taxis and cabs. Nothing has ever happened. That's 400 to 500 taxis. So I try to always use taxis where you don't have to exchange paper money. You know what I mean? You get out, thank you, and you leave. The taxi driver knows you don't have cash to exchange. So it's not any of those shenanigans going on. And also I don't drink alcohol. So I don't go out looking to find the best places where I can have a good drink or something like that, because a lot of those places are where those scammers and nefarious women hang. And so I really only go there just to DJ. And then I make friends with a lot of the people that work in restaurants or hotels and stuff like that, or cafes, and they're good people. So when you're always in a cycle of meeting good people, good Colombians that aren't working in nightlife or stuff like that, you build up a whole network of great people. And I'm an artist, so I hang in places with artists, painters, singers, and stuff like that, creatives. So my world don't have anything to do with after hours drinking, searching for weed or drugs or or women like that. You know what I mean? It's like I'm in a separate world from the stories that I hear guys having trouble. I'm like, why the fuck was you walking down the street 3 o'clock in the morning in a dark street by yourself? You're gonna get robbed. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. So I don't wish any bad stuff on people. It's just sometimes when I hear the stories, I feel like I'm in a whole other world. You know, like this weekend is Negro Fest in Colombia. It's a big Afro-Colombian festival, 3 days, just like the Petronia Festival in Cali. And guys, you know what I mean? If you want to do research, go to that. You see a bunch of fine Afro-Colombians or mestizo, whatever you like, and it's safe. You can buy stuff, you can have fun, there's parties. And I a lot of times when I go to these places and I DJ, I don't see brothers there. They're always in the 2-3 block radius of Calle Diaz where Parque Jarris is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like how like they used to say back in the day, you know, ain't nothing out but trouble past a certain time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just like I say. Like I say, just like you say, I doubt there's many people that be like, man, I got drugged at 2 p.m.
You never know. In Colombia, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. So that's what I just wanted to say, man. Congrats on the businesses. That's really great, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
And J Rash, where you be spending that? Like, what's your DJ schedule? Yeah, I
play all over. To be honest, like today. What's the day? Sunday. I could get a call Tuesday. A restaurant owner, Jay, can you play Friday for us, or you know what I mean? But my next date is June 7th at a place called Mad Records Cafe. It's all vinyl. And then in July, I'm playing in Cali, Colombia for a big house music dance battle. And but yeah, I'm on IG for guys that want to know anything about the culture. I can't hook you up with girls, but I can tell you where all the parties at.
Yeah.
So
right.
J underscore. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
J_Rags_ Soul Fiesta is me on IG.
Right.
Okay.
And if you guys don't know, man, like the DJs is like big in Medellin. Like we follow my man DJ J Jones, DJ J Rags. Like that's the big thing because you know the DJs bring in the ladies, and the ladies are, you know, regular. They're not on the drugging bullshit. So definitely follow the DJs and stuff like that, man. So
And I also have a link to a WhatsApp group for all Afro events in Medellin, like Afro beats. And dance hall is big here. I don't really play dance hall. I play a lot of Amapiano and Afro beats sometimes, but that group is for all Afro events in Medellin. It's really cool. If you come here for more than like a week or two, I'll give you that link. But if you come in here for a couple of days or you're not here yet, don't send me an email because I'm not going to send you the link until you get here.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. I want to ask you something, J Raz, about like, you know, you're married to a Colombian. Are you hearing like just through the grapevines, different neighborhoods that Colombians are looking at, I guess, foreigners or brothers a certain type of way or something like that? Like, do we have a bad reputation out there or anything like that you heard of?
I don't hear that. I mean, if it's happening, I just don't hear it. Like 90% of my time is spent around Colombians. Like we live in a neighborhood where there are no foreigners. There are really no foreigners, and it's a great middle class neighborhood. And we just moved here from another middle class neighborhood, and it's always Colombians. And people are nice. Nobody is saying, "Look at that gringo" or blah blah blah. I don't hear bad stuff. I mean, maybe that's in that little small circle of people who go to Parque Jarris. Maybe that world. Maybe those people are talking about them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But if you live in Los Colores, and you're a gringo, and there's not a lot of foreigners there, it's just Colombians, you don't hear people talking bad about Colombians. I'm gonna tell you what I do hear though. Like sometimes I go to Parque Jarris if I arrive early for a gig and I sit in that Juan Valdez coffee shop. On multiple occasions, and this is during the day where it's family friendly. On multiple occasions, I've heard gringos in there or foreigners, especially the white guys, talking bad about Colombians. I've heard this multiple times. You know what I mean? Talking about, man, if I lived here, I'd be a king. I'm like, you as a cornball. You're not going to be a king here. And it's just, so I don't really hear Colombians talking bad about foreigners unless, that's in that bubble. You know what I mean?
Right. Because
like,
it's this narrative that brothers went to Colombia and they messed it up for everybody, and Colombia's been, compromised, and now, but you're not really seeing that because I don't really see it myself.
Man, I'm telling you, I go to Poblado a lot to DJ, and sometimes I'll like if my wife is visiting her mother in Monterrey near the coast, I'll go to Poblado because I like coffee shops. You know what I mean? I'm still into it, even though I don't own a coffee shop anymore. I still like to be in that culture. So I'll go there to organize music, and I don't see all the brothers everyone's talking about. You know what I mean? They might come out at night, like after midnight, but I'm just walking around, just regular tourists, and everything looks normal at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's full of people enjoying themselves. So I think there's a whole bubble and circle of people who are into just partying like that. And then there's a whole circle of YouTubers who are into that. You know what I mean? There's not a like Cardell's here talking about Sosua, but he's not here talking about the brothels or the go to here, or he's talking about business. You know what I mean? What's fun? And that's the circle that I know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I tried. One of our brothers has well, never mind. I don't want to talk about nobody else's channel. So,
okay.
But yeah, I don't hear a lot of disparaging stuff.
Okay, so I got one more question for you, bro. I don't want to hold you too long. But do you feel safer in Colombia or do you feel safer in the States? Let's just say Baltimore. Which way you feel safer?
In Baltimore.
You feel safer in Baltimore?
No. I'm just saying you just compared Baltimore is local. Okay. I'm older now, right? I'm way over 50, and I'm at a point in my life where you only live once. Like I've had my electric bike stolen in Colombia. Like I went to at a dentist office. I left it outside and I walked off for like 2 or 3 hours. My mistake, and the bike was stolen. But I had a bike stolen from me on the employee's parking lot where I worked at in the United States. So it stuff is going to happen, and I don't feel a difference. No. Let me take that back.
That's a trick. I don't know how.
There are certain no, it's not a trick question. There are certain neighborhoods where I wouldn't walk outside with my phone out in Colombia by myself. That I can say that because petty crime is huge in Colombia. You know what I mean? I don't feel like my life is ever in danger. I feel like petty crime is huge. Like I would walk in a hood in the United States with my phone out though. So that's the only difference I feel. You know what I mean? Petty crime is huge in Colombia, and I wouldn't do like little stupid stuff and like give somebody the opportunity to snatch something on a motorcycle. So
okay, so you feel safer in Colombia than you do, or Medellin than you do?
No, I feel safer in Baltimore.
Okay.
As far as petty crime go, but in Colombia, I don't feel my life is in danger. I don't feel my life is ever in danger. But I feel like the amount of guns in the United States, especially Baltimore, my life could be in danger. You know, I've seen a lot owning a coffee shop, especially during the Freddie Gray riots. Woo! A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, that wire really exposed Baltimore, because a lot of people didn't. I mean, I didn't know a lot about Baltimore until I saw the wire, and I was like, "Damn, they doing it like that out there." I thought Baltimore was on some.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you see how you mentioned the wire. I'm from the hood, and I didn't see that stuff in the wire. So okay. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's where you are. I'm from the hood, but my hood wasn't people just walking up and down the street selling crack and stuff like that on the corners. Right. I don't know.
Now, Dale, same question to you, brother. Do you feel safer in Dominican Republic or Detroit?
You know, I took a trip home maybe about, wasn't this last trip? It might have been 2 trips before that to Detroit. And that was the first time that I ever really felt in danger. It's a new culture now, and like I'm from a culture where it was bad, but you had to be in those places, right? You had to be dealing with those type of people. It's going all around me in my neighborhood.
Right.
Now, what they call the YNs, they just wow. And I never forget. I try to make it short, but yeah. So I got off the plane, and I asked my boy where could I get my hair cut, and so I stopped in my neighborhood to see my people. And when I went in the store, I saw the lady. She been running the corner store forever. I'm talking to her, and three young dudes walk in, and these dudes come in, and they call them sticks. They got them sticks, and three dudes walked in, man, Glocks with like maybe 20 round, 30 round sticks. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I'm
Jesus
like,
Christ.
boy, these dudes wild. And they looking at me like, what's good? And I speak to them, you know what I mean? I'm an OG dude. What's good with y'all?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like back in the day when you spoke with the OG, like, what's up? They like, what's up? They just kind of look back like, nigga, we don't know
Why are you
you.
speaking? Why are you
Right.
speaking up?
Yeah. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me just, what I mean? They just got this chip on their shoulder. And then the next thing you know, I go to get my haircut, and I pull up on the street. And this shit was crazy because it was two dudes sitting out there. I seen them; they were standing there, and then it's like a main road, a parallel park. I got out, and they were right past the barbershop where I had to walk to. And then I looked down, and one dude had a Glock with a stick, the other dude had an AK, and I'm like, damn, right? So I'm already walking towards them, so I can't really turn around because I know niggas like, hey nigga, where you going? So I had to just see it through. Like, man, I walk past them. I'm like, what's good, fellas? They're like, what up? So I go in the barber shop and I tell my man, I'm like, yo, that niggas out there. Wow, my man got the stick and the other dude got the K. My man, he started cleaning me up. He like, oh yeah. My man in the barber shop, he got into it with his other man, so they waiting on him. And I'm like, nigga, why you gotta be sitting in the chair and these niggas waiting to shoot up the barber shop? So yeah, it was wild, man, because I had been home all of an hour and I had seen like 5 serious guns, and I was like, yo, this joint like Iraq out here. Like these dudes really on some war zone type shit. And I was like, at that point, I'm like, yeah, I feel more comfortable in DR. Now that's in comparison to Detroit. When I'm in DC area, these young dudes, they wilding around here too. So yeah, right now at this point, I'd say I'm more comfortable in DR. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question, and maybe one of you guys can answer this. Dale, do you think it's better to start a business? Like, I don't know if you look into businesses in Colombia, but do you think it's better to start a business in the Dominican Republic than maybe in Colombia? Is it like some type of separate rules or something like that? Because I see guys open up businesses in both.
Right. So Colombia, like a lot of guys have wanted me to open, but Colombia, you can get involved in the wrong thing there. Some people can come see you over there. That not so much in DR. I know multiple people. Some of my shorties are Colombia, and it ain't even a gringo thing. She like, oh yeah, my aunt got a nail salon, but she got to take care of these people. Like it's like part of the culture, But I'm like, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's why I haven't done anything there, and I would even at least advise someone to say, hey, just know that this is most likely what you're gonna end up getting involved in, doing business there.
Okay, guys, we almost got 100. We got 193 in the room. We almost tapped that 200 marker. Guys, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't already downloaded the Passport Bros app, make sure to download the Passport Bros app. And also, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, make sure to join the Facebook group. And guys, if you're in Sosua, in the DR period, holla at my man Dale as well. He got this dope piece of grapefruit. I love them. What was my favorite dish out there, Dale? The buffalo
mac and cheese?
Yeah, buffalo mac and cheese. That was one of my favorite dishes out there, man. So,
I got a question for Dell real quick.
Go ahead, Jay.
Do you have problems getting sweet potatoes?
They're very hard to get. When they have them, I buy them all up. I boil them, I peel them, I boil them, I chop them up, and I put them in bags.
Because I've never really seen that in Colombia. Even when what's his name? Roberto had Sweet George's Cafe. He might have had it, but I don't really see it. And I've heard it was just hard to get.
Yeah, they're hard to get. I don't think they really grow them out there.
Plantain is not the same.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like, that's what they do in the DR more so.
Okay.
Place of the sweet potatoes like the mango and everything. It's like one of my favorite dishes out there.
Yeah, they have a potato that is sweet and it has like a white meat to it. It still doesn't fully taste like sweet potatoes. They would only have them in a place where they like got gringos, so and they're expensive because they import them. They don't grow them here.
Okay.
So there's probably not enough demand there for them to import them.
See, okay.
So it's a when I get them, I buy them. Like right now, we got this sweet potato pecan pound cake we making. So I have to buy those jokers and I buy them and freeze them.
Do you have like a different menu from the wings and waffles and Sosua than the one in Puerto Plata?
Yeah, Puerto Plata has a little bit more on the menu and a little bit more Dominican dishes because I get a lot of cruisers that come over there. So they have a little bit more like the mofongolitos, and I'm about to bring the whole snapper to Sosua. I hadn't been doing those, but yeah, they got a little bit more. We got the pollo guisado and things like that because some of the cruisers want to eat the Caribbean food. My theme is kind of fusion, so I like to fuse cultures. So you'll see things like we got the sweet plantains with the chicken and waffle now. So yeah, stuff like that.
I got a comment here about T Mac. He says, I did have to pay off a gang for my girl because she was in the wrong place and witnessed the crime.
Ooh.
It wasn't that much, but I know if you're a witness, you need protection from shot callers.
Ooh.
Damn, T Mac, I'm surprised you admitted to that one, brother.
That's rough. That's rough.
Wow.
I mean, hey, what I can respect is they took a payoff. I can respect that. That's organized.
Oh, they're very organized in Colombia, for sure. They're very organized. I mean, don't get me wrong. You got the run-ups. You got the random moto run-ups.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's very organized out there. Guys, we've been rocking for a minute, man. We're gonna go ahead and end the show. I know, Dale, you got stuff to do. My man J Rags in the building, so we're gonna go ahead. Oh, you said it was in Bayo like that. Okay. Yeah, they pretty organized.
Who in Bayo? Oh, Bayo.
Yeah, Bayo. They pretty organized in them barrios.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, guys. But any closing statements before we close out the show?
That's it, man. As always, I encourage brothers to travel, but travel a little deeper. The people who you're really traveling, think about where you might want to live because economically, the U.S. is going to be very challenging. Home ownership has been a pillar of wealth building in the U.S. forever, and it is getting to a point where it's unattainable. And so, especially my young guys, I want you to think about rent, right? Rent in a lot of nice areas at $2,000, $2,500 a month. You're in the DC area, you might be paying $3,000, $3,200. If you're 27 and the rent is $2,500, how much is the rent going to be when you're 50, when you're 60? All right. So, and then they're making home ownership. It's a little tough. It's unattainable because the houses are so expensive. Where you win at is leverage the knowledge. Look at owning something overseas. Your rent, mortgage, whatever, and taxes are your biggest expenses in life. And until you can kind of get those in check, you'll never be able to retire. All right. And I don't want you working your whole life. So when you're traveling to Colombia, get involved, link up with J-Rash, understand the culture, see if it's a place where you could possibly live, and not just go and hang out for the weekend because it could be, I mean, that brother over there living his best life. He happy, he looking real young and youthful. He said he well into the 50s, but that brother looking young and youthful, man, and enjoying his life, man, stress-free. So I encourage brothers to take the travel thing a little more serious, as in, could I potentially live somewhere else?
That's facts.
Yeah.
Rest, you have anything to say before we go?
For anybody thinking about moving abroad or long term, find a place that fits your personality. Colombia and Cuba fits my personality, but I can't live in Cuba. You know what I mean? I'm into house music, soulful house music, and Afro beat, like Fela Kuti, and salsa. Colombia fits my personality. There's a creative circle here, and it just fits my personality, and I don't have problems. Healthcare is great here, and you know, everything else, you know, is affordable. So find a place that fits your personality, not a place where you move to just because you want to brag that you live there. Find a place that fits your personality. You know, I see so many guys move into places and they love it, and then a year later, well, I'm moving to Thailand now, and you know what I mean? So find a place that fits you, not fits what is popular. That's my advice.
Some great points, man. Some great knowledge, guys. Another classic stream. I appreciate Dale and my man Jay Rash for coming on the show. We out. Peace.
Peace.